that are out there now tend to place a lot of emphasis on the notion that there are interlocking secret organizations that hold the real power in the world, and because of its secrecy and because of the elite background of many of its members, Skull and Bones is a prime candidate for that.
You were both in Skull and Bones, the secret society.
It's so secret we can't talk about it.
What does that mean for America? The conspiracy theorists are going to go wild.
I'm sure they are. I don't know. I haven't seen the web.
Number 322?
First of all, he's not the nominee.
We say that they're interlocking. The heads of the Trilateral Commission, or the heads of the CFR, or the heads of the Bilderberg Group, or the heads of the Royal Institute of International Affairs, they all have the exact same policies, the exact same thing they call for, world government openly. And then we talk about it, and we're nuts. It's like the national news announcing that police all need to have microchips in their hands to have guns, and then all the citizens need it. And it's all over the Associated Press, Wired News, you name it. But we're still kooks to talk about it, because preemptively they conditioned the public that you're a kook to be against it. I mean, this is just disgusting. Back to the tape.
On those conspiracy theories that posit the notion that there is an organization seeking world control, obviously there have been genuine conspiracies, some of them successful, some of them unsuccessful. But the more sweeping the claims are for what a conspiracy purports to do, the more difficult it becomes to either prove it or disprove it. And in my view, the more skeptical one has to be of the claims.
Define Illuminati.
The Illuminati were a small quasi-Masonic group founded in Central Europe in 1776 by a law professor named Adam Weishaupt. It grew to perhaps membership in the low four figures, largely in German-speaking parts of Central Europe. It was associated with an opposition to monarchical absolutism, and because of that, it began to attract the hostility of the governments in the countries where it was operating. So by around the late 1780s, it had effectively been suppressed and put out of business. What has happened since then, and particularly since the 1790s, is that a body of literature has grown up claiming that the Illuminati, in fact, were not disbanded, that they had a continued existence, that they exist today, and that they have essentially been responsible for much of the disruption in world history.
Where do they hang out, so to speak?
Well, if you look at the contemporary conspiracy theories, they tend to be linked to a range of other organizations. The ones that come up with some frequency are the Trilateral Commission, the Council on Foreign Relations, the UN, the Federal Reserve. There's this sense of not a single conspiracy, but of conspiracies in a way nested within one another like Russian dolls.
And does the Bilderberger Group fit in that too?
They certainly do. In fact, in the more complex and Baroque conspiracy theories, there may be literally dozens of organizations that are regarded as components with the Illuminati at or near the summit of some kind of...
Okay, at the Illuminati, at the top or the summit, why is their symbol for Time Warner and CBS and the Total Information Awareness Network? It's that all-seeing eye on the top of that pyramid looking down on you. That's the Illuminati's admitted symbol. that eye of Lucifer, that all-knowing elite at the top of the pyramid that symbolizes command and control and compartmentalization. It's just that simple. And the Illuminati wasn't some new idea. It was elites that were using that just as one shill or one front at that particular time. You look at who runs the IMF, the World Bank, the World Trade Organization, the UN, all these organizations, the top people running those are the top people in the private banks, in the Federal Reserve, in the Council on Foreign Relations, in the Trilateral Commission. It's just a couple thousand people, and they're just high-level managers, and there's just a few hundred families, really even less than that. Bilderberg Group meetings are secret. They have, they'll have them in France. They'll admit it's a meeting. The army's called out to guard them. Queen of England, the Rothschilds, they all go in. Chinese leaders, the richest Arabs, they all go in. They come out. Then their talking heads go on TV and announce the new policy. Their own documents, their own publications of the CFR call for world government, call for taking your guns, call for all this. We're just talking about something public here. But again, over and over again, they know you don't want to take responsibility or fight it or get involved. So they have their talking heads go, oh, no, it doesn't exist. You didn't see that on the sitcoms. You didn't see that on Fox News. You didn't see that at the halftime show at the football game. But they have a problem. The C-SPAN audience is intelligence. They watch C-SPAN, the C-SPAN audience. They see CFR meetings every week where they call for New World Order and world government. And so they're all calling in going, what do you mean? Go back to it, please.
Here all the time when I listen in and out of these programs, people who sound very rational, very smart and intelligent come up with these very intricate theories.
Yes, sir, Dr. Barkin. I wanted to ask you if you heard anything about the UN and any conspiracy as far as a New World Order. I know there's a lot of Americans that have changed their mind about the UN and as far as our involvement in the UN.
Well, virtually all conspiracy theories that talk about a so-called New World Order give primacy to the UN. That's been a motif that's been there for a long time. It's hard for me, as a matter of fact, to think of a contemporary conspiracy theory that uses the term New World Order that doesn't talk about the UN as having some kind of a central role.
In a moment, I'll ask you about what Alex Jones says is the impending staged capture of bin Laden. We go to Atlantic City.
Okay. Notice there that the caller calls in and talks about the UN and, do you know about this conspiracy? And other callers call in and go, I think the Democrats run the conspiracy. And then Brian Lamb goes, well, wait a minute. Bush talked about a New World Order. Both sides are controlled. Bush is playing the bad cop in Iraq. The UN's going to come in and play the part of the good cop. How do I know this? Globalist white papers are public saying it's all staged. But they know you're not going to stay up till 2 in the morning reading white papers. You're going to go to the topless bar. Go ahead.
You're on the air.
Yes, good morning. I listen to Alan Jones religiously from 2 in the morning till 5 in the morning on Real One Radio on the Internet. If anybody really wants information, he is the man who has it, believe me. I wanted to ask Mr. Barkin about how the passports of the hijackers were found if that 911 building burnt up, how 9 of the 19 are still alive in other countries, and how those buildings appear to have been blown up.
Professor, before you answer, let me just ask our caller, why is it that you believe what Alex Jones tells you?
Because he makes a lot of sense. There are just too many coincidences about the whole situation, from George Bush's coup, and Totally, totally. And I watch a lot of history. I watch a lot of PBS. I do not watch propaganda. As Hitler said, it is easier to believe a big lie than a little lie.
But I'm going to press it a little bit more, though. Who is Alex Jones? Why does he have the truth? And why is everything that he says reliable? Do you know anything about him? You know where he was born? You know how much education he's got?
It just makes sense. Believe me.
It just makes sense.
It just makes sense because the other way just doesn't make sense. And I know there's evil behind the skull and bones.
Well, let me ask you this. He says there's an impending staged capture of bin Laden. Do you believe that?
Yeah, everything's staged. Everything that the skull and bones do is staged.
Professor.
Well, I guess I would ask first what the basis is for the various assertions about 9/11, because they really run so clearly counter to everything else that's been reported.
It all runs so counter to what's been reported. I've been in this studio live for over 2 years, a little bit over 2 years, telling you that in November of 2000, the government ran a drill of flying hijacked jets into buildings. And where did I get this wild idea? But from the Pentagon's own website. You know, I just went to the Pentagon's website, and they said they did this drill. Military District of Washington, News, Contingency, Planning, Pentagon Mass Cal exercise. Then they had a drill on 9/11. I got that from a top lawyer interviewing the military officials at NORAD. And then, oh, I'm a nut, I'm crazy. And then it's in USA Today. See, I'm just, everything we say about 9/11, I told you they had all these tapes of McVeigh with all these Middle Easterners. Of course, they worked for the U.S. government. Later to be blamed on Saddam, linked into the right wing. And I'm a nut, but there it is in the Associated Press, reposted in the Ostenberger Statesman. Oklahoma City bomb document cites video of multiple suspects. I mean, come on, just go back to these establishment hacks who are lazy and
Bush's
can't even
father
come up with
wrote a book
sophisticated ways. Can't even come up with sophisticated ways to counter us. Go ahead.